Hello. Oh,
There, I got you. Nice and clear. All right.
finally.
Yes. So you're in Poland?
No, in Germany, but I'm Polish.
You're Polish. Okay, in Germany. Let me ask you, are all comics over there translated, or do you read them in English, or how does that work?
With comics, it's I try to read them in English when I got a chance. I've
Mhm.
got some in German. Most of my are in German, and some in Polish.
I have a
Uh,
Spider-Man comic my dad brought back from Germany. D Spinny, is that it? Is that Spider-Man? Like Diespinne?
Now it's called Spider-Man, but if yeah, it was the Spinner.
Yeah, Die Spinne. Okay. All right. That's my one German comic thing I remember having as a kid. Well, cool. So this is a podcast that you do in Germany about comics, or tell me a little bit about the what this is.
Yes, uh, it's about pop culture in general.
Hmm.
So also t in this case also TV series.
Okay. Very
And
cool.
I'm glad you agreed to this.
Yeah, my pleasure. It sounds fun.
I recently rewatched M.O.D.O.K.
Oh, cool. Awesome. It's on
I
Disney Plus over there, right? Is
Yes,
it? Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Here it's on Hulu. Because I
Yeah.
think we're the only place that has Hulu.
And I show it to some of my friends. They enjoyed it.
Oh, awesome. That's so cool to hear.
And I wanted to ask if you could tell anything what the second season would be about if it was greenlit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We had planned out season two, where obviously we left on a big cliffhanger where M.O.D.O.K seemingly killed his family, and it was set in the future where he had kind of conquered the world, but was feeling kind of unfulfilled because his family wasn't there to enjoy it with him. So season two would have been about him trying to figure out how to bring his family to the future. And it would have been this big kind of cosmic odyssey thing. We would have brought in the Celestials and Silver Surfer, hopefully, and kind of big Marvel cosmic stuff. And he would have brought them, found a way, a kind of loophole to a new crystal to kind of bring them to the future right before they died. And they would have been very angry with him that he let them perish originally, and kind of set him back with all of them in their relationships. And they'd be like, "This sucks. We don't want to live in this future. We want to go back to our lives." So he'd be trying to figure out a way to bring them back in time. And meanwhile, Gary and Monica would have been leading a rebellion against kind of King M.O.D.O.K. So all the characters from the series would you'd see them in this kind of futuristic world, and they'd be on kind of opposite sides trying to kind of bring M.O.D.O.K down. And eventually, it would have all led to M.O.D.O.K going back in time to basically like a week after the bar mitzvah. And when they got there, the world would have been conquered by Hexus, the aliens that we introduced, the living corporation. And the kids would be like, well, this is like Back to the Future too, when Marty ends up in that Biff world, they're like, this isn't, when is this? This sucks. This isn't my present. Bring me back. And he's like, oh, no, no. While we were gone, time traveling, Hexus conquered the world. So M.O.D.O.K and his family would kind of lead this rebellion and save the world. And then the Avengers would offer him a spot on the team, since he ends up being accidentally a hero by saving the world from Hexus. And we would have gone into some of the other character stories. We would have met Melissa's girlfriend and Lou. We had a story about M.O.D.O.K being worried that he's not smart enough to get into a good private school. So he changes Lou's DNA to make him a mutant, so he could go to the Xavier school. So we had all these kind of if they would have let us do these crossovers. But yeah, it would have been about M.O.D.O.K trying to figure out how to, save the family, go back in time, and then having to defeat hexes once they got back in time was kind of the main arc.
That sounds so fun.
Well,
That's a
maybe one day we'll get to do it, but unfortunately, not anytime soon.
Yeah, hopefully that's a pity that it was canceled, but yeah, it sounds so fun.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it as a comic or something one day. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll definitely pick it up.
awesome. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the series.
Yeah, it was really good. I wasn't expected it to be as good as it was.
Oh, I think we wanted to kind of surprise people. You're like, oh, there's a show about a floating monster head who wants to conquer the world, and I think we tried to infuse it with a lot of heart and emotion, and make it, weirdly relatable, even though it had all this, aliens and time travel and robots and all that. It was always supposed to be
Yeah,
kind of a family work story, of a midlife crisis story.
yeah. Um, Sorry, I need to figure out an English word.
No, take your time, no problem.
Uh, At the beginning, it was supposed to be M.O.D.O.K, Hitmonkey, Howard the Duck, and Tiger and Dazzler.
Yes,
Uh,
so there was going to be those shows, and they were supposed to team up. And obviously, there was some behind the scenes changes going on at Marvel, and Marvel TV got absorbed into Marvel Studios. So, some of those plans didn't work out. But, I think that's the tough thing when you try and plan that far out. You never know what's going to
yeah,
change. But, we were really allowed to do M.O.D.O.K the way we wanted to. We weren't, told like, oh, you got to set this up and set that up. I became very close with one of the showrunners, Josh, who ran Hitmonkeys. We were trying to tie things, together a little bit. But really, the Marvel was awesome about like, just go make the show you want to make, and we did.
that's great. And yeah, I wanted to ask if M.O.D.O.K and Hitmonkey are in the same universe because Hitmonkey has a reference to M.O.D.O.K. Aim
It's,
that.
maybe, it's tricky because the animation styles were different, and we did talk a little bit about, you know, um, if when we were supposed to do this team up, what they would all look like together. So, um, I don't know. There might be some overlap, but I would love for M.O.D.O.K to show up on Hitmonkey, or vice versa. Which we had a Hitmonkey reference in our show, but it got cut for time. So it was always intended to kind of play off each other a little bit.
That's great. Mm, okay. And how different is it to write a comic book from a TV show?
It's very different because TV is a writer's medium. You're really crafting it and driving it, and as a writer and as a showrunner, you're steering. You're there for every part of it. You're kind of directing, and comics is a artist medium, not a writer's medium. So you're really writing to make your artists look good, and writing to their strengths, and they're the director, not the writer. So you kind of take your ego out of it, and you're just like, well, I want to write cool things for this artist to draw, and that's really it. And you're just trying to make them look good, and you know create something that, because people are going to pick it up for the art. They're going to read the story through the art. The words are almost just extra to, not extra, but just enough to get you through the story. Not to undermine, there's tons of fantastic comic writers that I follow, a lot of writers, and I buy books for the writers, but I think, if the art doesn't work, the comic doesn't work. And you're there to collaborate with the writer versus, TV. It's like, this is my show, this is my voice, this is my, my words, and this is how I think it should be said and done. And it's, I think, the opposite with comics.
Oh yeah. And which do you prefer?
They both have their fun strengths. I'd say the best part about comics is it's so immediate. You write the script, you give it to the artist in a week, you get, his roughs, a few weeks later, you're starting to get pages in, and you can put a comic together in a few months. Whereas a show, it's, you gotta staff it and cast it and that production, and it could be a year before you have a finished episode. So
Yeah.
I love the immediacy of comics, and I love, there you're a little more control, and you can go bigger. You don't have to worry about budget, right? In TV, you have to worry about going over budget. So I think comics has its strengths there, and then TV, you get to work with more people, and it's much more personal. Where every day you're meeting with writers or directors or the cast, and you get exposed to more people. Whereas comics, it's you, your editor, your letterer, and your colorist and your artist. So it's a little more smaller of a ship to steer.
Oh yeah. So they're very different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're still ultimately telling stories, and the thing that makes them very similar is when you're writing a screenplay or an episode, you only have 32 pages or less to kind of get out your story. So you're very concise, and you cut a lot out, and you try and boil a story down to bare beats and bones. And comics is like that too. You get 4 or 5 panels a page, and you have to figure out what images are going to tell the story to move it along. So I think it's very unlike writing a novel where you can go off on tangents and talk
Yeah.
for a while. Comics and TV and movies, it's very like minimalist.
Yeah, that's true. Your favorite comic?
Well, I'm an X-Men fan my entire life, and I've been very lucky. I got to write an X-Men comic this year. The first issue just came out on the Marvel Unlimited app. It's a X-Men Unlimited story called A World Without X, which is, it's a Professor X story in the Age of Apocalypse. So that was a story I read, when I was a teenager, and I loved it. I went and got every issue I could and devoured it. So getting to play with those characters, play in that sandbox, was like magic for me. I've been reading X-Men my whole life. I continue to buy every X-Men comic that ever comes out. So getting to add to it was very cool.
Yeah. Will it be also on print or just on Marvel Unlimited?
I'm not sure yet. They've reprinted some of the Marvel Unlimited X-Men stories. I don't know how they pick which ones get it, but it's a 6-parter right now that's coming out every week. It's a Christmas story. So it's gonna kind of wrap up around Christmas.
It's very for times. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They scheduled it well.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's very, if you want a post-apocalyptic Christmas, then check out the story.
Yeah. Um, mm, I try to, but it's hard with Marvel Unlimited here. So,
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't. Is it hard to get? Is the app not the same, or is it hard to kind
um,
of use?
what I know is not every comic are on here. So,
Oh, okay, yeah,
and VPN is also
right,
also a solution.
right. Yeah, there's a way you can find it if you look for it.
Yeah. Yo, back to the TV made TV.
Mhm.
What does a showrunner do?
You're kind of responsible almost for everything, every decision. So you're probably the person who has pitched and sold the show. You write the pilot. You kind of set up what the show will be and what the voice of it will be. Then your job after it gets picked up is to staff it with writers. You're running the writers' room, you're figuring out the story line over the season as well as each episode, how it's going to lay out. You're up at the board, you're managing it. If you're lucky, you got some good executive producer, writers who can you can trust number twos, but ultimately you're figuring out the show. And after you've overseen and broken the stories and the writers bring them in and you rewrite it, you'll have table reads and you'll be rewriting them based on how those go. You're casting the show with the casting director. You're working with the directors to talk about the look of the show. You're going to be reviewing the cuts and working with the editor to lock picture. You're there when they're scoring it. You're doing sound mixes and literally like every decision that can be made, costuming, props. You have to okay every little thing and make a decision. It's about a billion decisions go into every episode of television. And you see the whole episode all the way through until it's ready for broadcast, and then you do it all over again each episode until the season is complete. So you're really steering the ship, the whole way through.
The most important person for a TV show.
What's that?
The most important person for a TV show.
Yeah,
Like,
it's you're the writer, you're the director, you're the, I mean, you luckily you work with a lot of you staff the show with amazing creative people that you collaborate with and they're pitching ideas, you're pitching ideas. So, you're only as good as the people you work with, but it's up to you to kind of hopefully line up those people and make sure they're on your show.
yeah. Would you like to be a showrunner for any other show based on
Yeah, I mean, I have a few shows in development, and it will probably be my job for the foreseeable future, and I'm working on feature stuff as well for film. So yeah, it's really fun. It's really tiring, but it's also really rewarding. So it's if you love television, it's the best job to have.
Okay, yeah. And would you like to do some more Marvel stories?
Yeah, there's definitely characters. I'd love to do some live action stuff. And I'd love to play in DC as well. And I've talked to them about a few projects. So we'll see, what comes up first.
That was my other question, if you would like to do something from DC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love them equally. I don't believe in like, oh, I'm a Marvel person, I'm a DC person. Like, I like good stories, I like good characters, and both companies have both.
Agreed
Um,
on that.
yeah, and and then Patton and I, who's the voice of M.O.D.O.K, we have our own comic, Minor Threats. So we're working right now to develop that as a show as well. And that would be our own. It's our own creator-owned comic with Dark Horse. So that one we get to kind of do our own take instead of playing with someone else's toys.
Yeah, I wanted to read it, but yeah, it's hard to get
Mm.
a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the international publishing is with Dark Horse over there, but hopefully it makes its way over to you. I have a friend in Amsterdam who was able to track it down, so hopefully it spreads more in
I
Europe.
I try probably use Atom Comics. They're shipping from comics from different countries, mostly the original from US to
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Well, I hope it gets translated. It would be cool to see it in different languages.
Yeah, definitely. Um, do you have a favorite part of writing?
Yeah, there's this part where you're kind of blue skying, where you're just kind of coming up with ideas. Everyone's throwing out ideas, and oh, what if this? Oh, this story happened to me. What if we did this with M.O.D.O.K or this character or whatever? And there's this moment where it kind of clicks, and you're like, well, this could lead to this, and then this could happen. Oh my God, we're telling this kind of story where the shape of the story starts to form, and it's like it's got unlimited possibility. It's exciting. You cracked it. You're the whole room's like pitching on it, and everyone has these ideas, and you can tell like, oh, this one's a keeper. You know, this has legs, and it's like the best feeling when you kind of get the you know just the beginnings of a story that the whole room latches onto and gets excited about. So I love that part of the process.
It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is there any person you would like to work with in the future?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in TV, um, I would love to work with James Gunn on a DC thing. But you know, actors, I'm trying to think who I would love to work with. I've been very lucky to get to work with a lot of people who are like my favorite actors, like John Hamm and you know people like that. But trying to think right now who I would love to. There's a lot of producers, you know, because you watch certain shows, and you're like, oh wow, I'd love to do some of them. Like I'm loving White Lotus, so like maybe the chance to work with Mike White would be amazing. You know, I'm trying to think, you know, comedically, you know, um, yeah, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of actors, and then in comics, there's so many artists I would love to work with. You know, I'm trying to think who would be my number one right now. Pepe Larraz, who's drawing X-Men, and you know, Bill Sienkiewicz is a painter I would love to work with. So, you know, I think I've been very lucky to work with some of my heroes, and there's still like a long list of people that you know, hopefully my career has enough legs to get me there to get to collaborate with them.
I hope so. Uh, yeah. I'm sorry.
No, no, take your time.
I'm a bit nervous. Not gonna lie.
It's going great. It's going great, and your English is very good.
Thank you. I try.
No, you're doing awesome. I told you all my German, so that was all I know. No, you're doing awesome.
Thanks. Uh, if you could do whatever you want, crossover with anything, what would you do?
It was funny. Patton and I and this writer Jerry Duggan, who writes X Men, we wrote a pitch for a giant Marvel crossover. So I hope we get to do that one day. That had the Fantastic Four and Doctor Strange kind of at the heart of it. Um, I would love to, you know, do some sort of Justice League story, you know, big DC thing with them at the heart of it. I love all of those characters. Like Flash is probably one of my favorite characters. And then, you know, movie stuff. Um, you know, I think writing a Star Wars thing would be really fun. I would love to. There's actually a franchise I would love to get my hands on. I don't know if you ever saw or read any of the comics, the Dick Tracy movie from the 90s. I love that world. It's like an old, you know, pulp detective, but set in this really fun world with gangsters and stuff. But it's a very comic booky, and that's a property that I would love to get my hands on because I really like detective noir. So you know, I'm holding out for a few properties, but it's funny. I pitched on a lot and worked on a lot, and you know, I love working on those things I grew up with, and then at the same time now doing minor threats. It's like, oh yeah, I also love creating my own thing. So a little of both, you know, in the future.
Yeah, understandable. Uh, yeah, different. You wrote about 20 episodes of American Dad.
Yeah, that's where I got my start. Was on that show. I started as like a baby writer and kind of worked my way up, and it was amazing. It was there's incredible writers on it. They were very good about letting you bring your own ideas in, see them through. it was kind of like showrunner training in a weird way, and just had the absolute best experience on that show.
Do you have favorite story you wrote for American Dad or?
Yeah, I kind of love the first one I wrote. I wrote with my writing partner at the time, Parker Day. Um, it was like this one where Stan uses this like avatar to try and get close with his son, but she's like a good-looking teen girl, and he kind of starts dating his son just so he could have a relationship with him. And then it gets very weird and insane. That one was a lot of fun to write. And then one of the last ones that I did on that show were Roger's a Shark. It was really stupid, but we had a lot of fun writing that one.
Unfortunately, those are episodes I haven't seen. Dang it.
No worries. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of American Dad. I wouldn't, it's like The Simpsons. There's no way you can see all of
Yeah,
them.
it has how many seasons? More
I don't,
than 10.
I was in college when that show started, so it's been on a while.
Um, do you have any advice for young writers?
I mean, the cliche one is the right one, which is write every day, even when you don't want to. It's a muscle you kind of have to work out, and especially if you're kind of coming out of college, I think there's a lot of pressure you put on yourself. I gotta make it. I gotta get my foot in the door. I gotta get an agent or this or that. And I really treated that period as more of like more schooling. Like, am I getting better at my writing? Am I learning the craft? Am I taking it all in? Am I exposing myself to other writers who are teaching me things? I think that's a big one. And then also, I had a writers group when I first started out that I was a part of, where it was just other people who were, I was an assistant at the time. They were assistants or, receptionists or whatever. We're just trying to, work in the entertainment industry. And we would all meet once a week and share our writing with each other. And it was a very safe place to get critiques and help and brainstorm. And it made me accountable for my writing so that I had to get something each week done to share. And it's great to have that support system, I think, when you're starting out, because writing is a very lonely thing to do. And to have other people who are at your level, who are just trying to help and help make your stuff better. And, I think that it's invaluable to have that at a young age.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, what is a live action story you would love to tell? Not in details, but in
Oh, live action one. Well, we would love to do Minor Threats live action. And I am obsessed with. I want to tell the artist, comic artist Jack Kirby, his story. I would love to do a biopic, but filled with the imagery from his comics
oh,
to tell his story. He's kind of a hero of mine, so I think that would be really fun.
that would be very cool. I kind of imagine it right now.
I would love to see it. So if I don't make it, I hope someone does.
I hope you get the chance to make it.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
Um, dang it. Uh, need
Harder
to
one.
think. Uh, could you repeat, please?
I was just saying, is this a harder one to translate? This question.
And no, it's harder one to think. Uh, um, it's hard when you Polish and you have three languages in hand.
Yeah, you're pulling all from all over. Look, all the credit to you. Americans are lazy and we barely know more than one language. So
I
I'm jealous.
don't be. Uh, uh, we have 10 minutes.
Okay. Any other ones you want to ask, or while you're working on that one, or
Mm, what- dang it. Uh, your favorite childhood film?
ooh, good one. Back to the Future was kind of a game changer for me. It's still one of my favorite films. That and E.T., I think, were the two movies that made me really want to write and work in TV and film. And but Back to the Future to me is like, as a writer, it's like the tightest script ever written. You know, there's not a wasted line. Everything pays off. Everything's set up. It's super character driven. It's, plotty while never feeling plotty. The voices of the characters are so clear. So that's one I would always say to look to if you want to be a writer. And then yeah, E.T. I watch like every year. I'm a big Spielberg fan, so that one kind of, I cry every time I watch it. So they're my childhood favorites and still favorites. So
Yeah, I love E.T. too and Back to the Future. Although I love E.T. a bit more.
yeah, I mean, E.T.'s a perfect movie. So I just got to take my kids to it. They re-released it for the anniversary. It was the
Yeah,
40th anniversary, and we went and saw it in theaters, and it like played perfectly. People were clapping, crying, like it was as if no one had seen the movie. It was amazing.
I need to rewatch it. I haven't seen it since 2018 or so.
Okay, yeah, never a wrong time to watch ET.
Yeah. Mm. Any recent film that's released you actually li pretty liked?
Recent film I really liked. Let's see. I just saw Barbarian, which is on HBO Max, a horror movie, which I thought was
Yeah.
amazing. Top Gun, I really really liked this year, the sequel. What else? Anyway, I know I'm always talking about movies, and oh, you know what I saw? It's an old movie, but I was really impressed with was American Gigolo and Bull Durham. I saw both those movies for the first time this year, and I rewatched them twice since. I was like, oh my god, these are amazing. Sometimes just going back to those '80s movies you miss, that I didn't see growing up because I was so young when they came out. But I'm always trying to see new stuff, and watch everything that comes out. I'm not like, oh, I only like these movies or these movies. Like I just love genre. So good horror, good romantic comedy, good action. I'm in for anything that kind of, gets good word of mouth. I'm in.
Yeah, the Barbarian, it's from this year, the film
Yeah, it just came out
uh,
this year.
from
Uh,
Fox.
I,
Now with 20th Century Studios. My
um, I
oh,
think so.
Searchlight. Searchlight? Ah, television.
I think it was Fox. I think it was Fox. No, I don't know, but I saw it on HBO. I don't know. It's too hard to keep track of these things. It was on HBO Max here. Uh,
Yeah. Oh, what I know is Disney had deal with HBO, Fox had deal with HBO,
okay,
and yeah, they kept it with Disney, but in Germany it will be on Disney Plus. If it's the same film, it will be on Disney
that's
Plus.
so funny that that's on Disney Plus because like in America, Disney Plus is only like sort of family friendly,
Yeah,
but everywhere else they have everything. Yeah, the
yes,
Star and all that. Yeah,
but it will change later
yeah, they're gonna put
because
like Deadpool on it, and I think they're opening it up.
and
Yeah.
they want Marvel Zombies will be TVMA, so yeah.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, yeah.
They want to kind of change it now. Change it now.
Yeah, it's a little limiting when you're only for kids. So Why
Yeah.
not?
Uh, any favorite Christmas movies? So, like
Yeah.
it's perfect time.
I just watched Home Alone with my kids. We always watch Elf, Christmas Story. Um, I'm Jewish, so my wife is Christian, so I'm like Christmas is new to me. I watched all the movies growing up, but this is like my 10th Christmas, so I get really excited because it's all new and fresh to me. But I'm trying to think. Oh, National Lampoon, we watch that one a lot. There's so many. Uh, People will argue about Die Hard. I watch it every Christmas. Gremlins, we also watch every Christmas.
I love Gremlins.
Me too. My kid's obsessed. My 3-year-old, he not scared of it, loves them, has all the toys, has a gizmo pillow. It's like his favorite franchise.
My mom as a kid was afraid of it and don't want to come back to it.
um, it's yeah. I think those movies hold up so well. So those are some of my favorites.
Yeah. I watched recently the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday special, and I think
Oh, the
it.
Guardians of the Galaxy, that was great.
I agree, it was so fun. I watched it. I watched it. It's on my own 4 times, and the fifth time with my family.
Oh, nice. Oh, it's already a classic for you. I thought it was so funny. Uh, and Mantis was a character. I liked her in the movies, but this was like, oh my god, I think she might be my favorite Guardian of the Galaxy. She's hilarious. It was nice to like showcase some of the characters who don't always get the spotlight.
Yeah. And the fact that Disney released the one episode of Legends with Mantis, and then there was the deleted scene from Guardians 2,
Hmm.
so they had to take it down because it was spoilery for Holiday special.
Oh, that's funny.
Uh,
I didn't realize that.
that in that scene was revealed that she's daughter of Eagles. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, right, right. So she's a sister. I was trying to remember if that's in the comics. I think in the comics, no, I was thinking Moondragon. Because I know they've changed some of the origins and stuff for Guardians. Like even in the Christmas special, he gets the guns from Yondu, but in the comics, his dad gives it to him. So it's
oh.
kind of cool to see them, make it their own.
Yeah, yeah. In my opinion, it's better to take something from the comics and do it on your own
Yes,
story than to remake it one to one because
absolutely. You got to
a
adapt
bit.
it. You got to change it. Surprise! I want to
Yeah,
be surprised as an audience member because I know the comics, so I don't like going in and being like, I know exactly what I'm going to watch. I love being surprised at these movies.
yes, exactly. Yeah. We have only less than 2 minutes.
Well, this has been so fun. These are great questions, and it's been cool to talk TV and comics and movies with you. Um, what's your favorite character? We talked about mine. What are your favorite characters
From
for comics? Let's say
okay, so my favorite character from comics overall is John Constantine.
I, Constantine's the best. Oh my God, I'm so excited. They're doing the sequel. He's gonna pop up and all this stuff. I hope they do Dark Justice League Dark. Constantine's amazing. And then there was the female version in Sandman. Did you watch Sandman?
I haven't got the chance yet, but it's high on my list.
Very good. I liked it a lot. I'm excited. They're doing a second season.
Yeah, it's great. Also, Neil is working on it.
Yeah,
It's,
it's very good adaptation. If you're a fan of the comics, you will be very happy with the show, I think.
I hope so. Oh, okay, we've we've got basically almost no time, so thank you for joining. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was great. I'm glad I got to participate.
Maybe we,
All right, you want to do a sign off?
yeah. Um, uh, it it didn't on the previous interview I did. It showed a bit better with the timing, and also the person I spoke to saw it too.
Hmm.
And here it was, yeah, just ended like that.
Okay. Well, however you want to end it, you let me know.
Um, uh, Thank you for joining. It was fun having you on here. Thank you that you agreed to this overall, and maybe we maybe we could do something like this in the future, like in 2 years or something.
Absolutely. This was so much fun. These were great questions, and I'm always happy to talk comics, TV, all that stuff. It's so fun.
I hopefully I can find a better question next time.
They were great questions. You did awesome. And again, your English is fantastic. So don't be so hard on yourself. You did great.
Thank you. Thank you. Then have a nice evening, uh, and and a great Sunday.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know what time it is for you, but you have a good whatever part of your day you're at, and we'll talk soon. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's 3 a.m., almost 4 a.m.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for being up and accommodating me. I appreciate it.
No problem,
Go
no
get
problem.
some sleep.
It it's why a Sunday couldn't work for me because it will be Monday and I have school.
Oh man. Well, go get some rest and thank you so much.
Thank you to Tia.
All right. Have a good one. Take care.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Hello. How are you? I can't hear you. Is your audio on? Oh, it's very low. Like it's almost like the mic's not picking up. Yeah, you're kind of in and out audio wise. Hmm. Do you want to try should we leave it and come back and see if it works better? Let's leave the Zoom and try again.